Good morning, children. Stay safely at home. So, I am starting the next topic of the rotational motion chapter, that is kinetic energy of rotation. So, if you consider that there is a rigid body and it is rotating with an angular velocity omega around this axis. Okay. In that case, you may consider the body consists of small particles, point masses, and let us consider any arbitrary particle mi at a distance of ri from the axis of rotation. Alright. Then you see what is the linear velocity of that one vi. Vi you can write it as omega into ri. You know v is equal to omega into r. As I have considered that ith particle, so you can write that velocity, linear velocity of the ith particle is given by omega into ri. Okay. So what will be the kinetic energy of the particle? Ith particle, it will be half mi vi square. Is that clear? So this is the kinetic energy of the ith particle. Okay, kinetic energy, then I subscript I have written. What is the meaning? That this is the kinetic energy of the ith particle. Alright. So what will be the total kinetic energy of the body? Then you have to, you know, kinetic energy is a scalar quantity. So what you have to do? You have to add the kinetic energy of each particle. So you can write it like this. It will be for the first particle half m1 v1 square. For the second particle I will be 2 m2 v2 square, like that. It will be mn vn square. Alright. So you can write it as half sigma mi vi square. Okay. Again you see, you can write in place of vi omega ri whole square. Okay, because vi is equal to omega into ri. Remember that when the particles you are considering, all the particles are moving with the constant angular velocity. Their linear velocity will change, their distance from the axis of rotation will change, but all of them will move with the same angular velocity. This is the concept you have to remember. So you see, you can write it as half sigma mi ri square and then omega square. Okay. So you see, you can take half omega square outside and then sigma mi ri square. You know that sigma mi ri square is nothing but moment of inertia of the body about the axis of rotation, which we denote it by I. Okay, so I is the moment of inertia and moment of inertia is sigma mi ri square. Already you studied in the last lectures. Okay, so what you have got? Kinetic energy of a rotating body is given by half I omega square. What is the kinetic energy of a translating body? Half mv square. But what is the kinetic energy of a rotating body, or what is the rotational kinetic energy of a body? That is half I omega square, where I is the moment of inertia of the body about that particular axis of rotation and omega is the angular velocity of the body. Next is the relation between angular momentum and moment of inertia. Just like that you are considering one body rotating about an axis with the angular velocity omega. Alright. Then you know that linear velocity, it is given by vi is equal to omega into ri. Vi means what? It is the velocity of the ith particle. I may have any value 1 to n. If I consider that there are n number of particles within the body. Is that clear? Then you see what will be the angular momentum. Angular momentum is nothing but moment of momentum. Angular momentum, what is the other name? Moment of momentum. So you know what will be the moment of momentum? It will be the linear momentum, that is mi vi into the distance of the particle. Suppose I have taken the ith particle at a distance ri from the axis of rotation multiplied by distance of the particle from the axis of rotation. Is that clear? When it is moment of force, Just try to remember. Moment of force is force multiplied by perpendicular distance of line of action of the force from the axis of rotation. Like that. What will be moment of momentum? Momentum is linear momentum. So it will be linear momentum multiplied by the distance of the particle from the axis of rotation. So you can write it as MIVI/RI. So what will be the total angular momentum of the body? This is the angular momentum of the ith particle. Okay, means it may be any one. 1, 2, 3 as I said. So what will be the total angular momentum of the body? I have written the short form angular it is, and this is momentum. So listen to the lecture also instead of copying blindly from the whiteboard. So it will be sum of all the momentum. So you can write it as sigma MIVI/RI. Is that clear? So you see sigma again VI, if you substitute, it will be omega into RI. So omega into RI, another RI is there. So you see you can take omega outside the summation sign, it will be sigma MI/RI square. Alright, so sigma MI/RI square is nothing but the moment of inertia. So you are getting I into omega. So total angular momentum of a body is denoted by J. So remember that angular momentum is moment of inertia into the angular velocity. This is the relation between angular momentum and moment of inertia. Now next is coming, what is the relation between torque and rate of change in angular momentum? Now already we have got this relation that torque is given by moment of inertia into angular acceleration. Is that clear? Now angular acceleration, you can write it as d omega dt, rate of change of angular velocity. D omega dt means what? Rate of change of angular velocity is angular acceleration. Already we have done it. Alpha is equal to d omega dt. Is that clear? Now we have got this relation that J is I omega. So you see, if you take derivative of both sides, so you are getting it is J is I into d omega dt. Is that clear? So you see dj dt is I d omega dt. So if you substitute here, what are you getting? Torque is equal to rate of change of angular momentum. So what is the relation you can write? Torque acting on a body, rotating body, is equal to rate of change in angular momentum. Okay, so this is the relation between torque and rate of change in angular momentum. That torque is equal to rate of change in angular momentum. Now the next important, very important concept or topic in physics is law of conservation of angular momentum. Now here, if you remember everything in the comparison method, that translational motion details you have learned. So in the translational motion you have learned law of conservation of linear momentum. I hope you can remember that when the external force acting on a body is 0, then linear momentum of the body remain constant. Okay, so when a body instead of having translational motion have rotational motion, then torque is equivalent to force and angular momentum is equivalent to linear momentum. So you can say what is the law of conservation of angular momentum? That angular momentum of a rotating body remain constant when the external torque acting on the body is 0. So you see, we can just get from the relation, we know that torque is given by rate of change of angular momentum. So you see, torque 0 means rate of change of angular momentum is 0. So when the change in rate of change in angular momentum is 0, when there is no change in the angular momentum, means angular momentum is constant. Or remember that when dj dt is 0, it means that J is equal to constant. So this is the meaning of this sentence, mathematical meaning, that when torque acting on a body is 0, rotating body is 0, then the angular momentum of the body remain constant. Alright, now this we apply in our practical life several times. So one by one I will just discuss the examples of law of conservation of angular momentum in our day-to-day life. Now the practical examples where we generally use the concept of conservation of angular momentum, that you try to understand. Okay, I hope you have seen that divers are jumping from a height. Alright, suppose there is a water pool here, and here from here the diver is jumping. Then I hope you have observed it in different Olympics and all. When the diver jumps, you will see that they just, this is the diver body. I am just denoting it by a straight line because I am not very much good in drawing and painting. So it is not possible to draw the human figure here. So understand it. Suppose this is the diver's body. So when the diver is jumping, hands are down, legs are up, and you will see that their body is straight. Then in between, what they do, they just bring their leg and hand near the axis of the body, and they just make their body almost circular. Then you will see they just spin or rotate faster. Alright, and after that, when they again just near the water, again they just stretch their body, and then you will see they rotate with a less velocity and then just get inside the water. Alright, so you see what is happening when they are pulling their hands and legs to the axis of the body. Then what is happening? R is decreasing, so moment of inertia is decreasing. You know, I is equal to mr square. So when hands and legs are near the axis, then what is happening? R is decreasing. So R is decreasing means the moment of inertia decreases. But as we know, here on the diver, no external torque is acting. Is there any force? Is there any torque on the body, acting on the body from outside? No. So what you can say, that external torque acting on the diver is 0. So what will happen? J will be constant. Now you know that J is equal to I into omega. So you see, when I will decrease, then what will happen to omega? Omega will increase. It means what? When the diver pulling the body, pulling his legs or her legs and hands towards the axis of the body, then moment of inertia decreases, as therefore the angular velocity increases and the diver just rotate faster. Okay, and when stretching the legs and hands, then what will happen? I will increase and omega will decrease, because angular momentum remain constant, no external torque acting on the system. Alright, then another example. Suppose there is a table which can rotate about this axis, and suppose here a person is standing, and the person, when you will observe that when the person stretching the hands, holding one heavy weight, then you will see the table will spin with less velocity, less angular velocity. Omega will decrease because R is more. R more means what? I will increase. So when I will increase, omega will decrease. Then next, if the person bring the hands near the axis of rotation, then you will see that omega increases. So why? Because when in the person is bringing the hands near the axis of rotation, then I is decreasing, so omega increasing, as angular momentum remain constant. Alright, so that's why if you consider the rotation of earth around its own axis, alright, so if the, and you know, due to the rotation of earth only, the duration of the day changes, isn't it? So that we will solve in the numericals. So you see, if the earth shrinks without changing the mass, if the earth shrinks, then what will happen? R will decrease, I will decrease, then the earth will spin faster, means angular velocity of rotation of earth will increase. Then what will happen? Duration of the day will decrease. But suppose earth expands. So if the earth expands, keeping the mass constant, then what will happen? Moment of inertia will increase and then omega will decrease. So earth will spin or rotate with less velocity. Then what will happen? Duration of the day will increase. So these are all practical examples where we use the conservation of law of conservation of angular momentum. And one reminder that law of conservation of angular momentum is a very important topic for your exam. So you do learn it and practice it. Next concept, next topic is the condition for equilibrium. In 10th standard in details you have studied, so that's why I'm not writing anything on the board. I'm just discussing the topic. You know that when a number of forces act on the body, then the body may have two kind of motion, translational motion or rotational motion. Force can produce translational motion, whereas moment of a force or couple, what is couple? I hope you can remember. Two equal and opposite parallel forces which can produce turning effect on a body, that is known as, means just you consider you are opening the cap of your water bottle. So you see, this is the way you do, isn't it? So by this hand you are applying a force in this direction, by this hand you are applying a force in the opposite direction. You are applying equal and opposite forces. So that is an example of couple. So you know, couple is responsible, or moment of force responsible for producing the rotational motion. Now what do we mean by the term equilibrium? Equilibrium means that either a number of forces acting on the body, but either the body is moving with constant speed or the body is at rest. Then we say that the body is in equilibrium. So there are two kind of equilibrium, static equilibrium and dynamic equilibrium. What is static equilibrium? When a number of forces acting on the body, the body is at rest. Static means rest. Then the body is said to be in static equilibrium. And when a number of forces acting on the body, but the body neither is having translational motion, accelerated motion, or nor it is having rotational motion. In that case, we say that the body is moving with constant velocity and the body is in dynamic equilibrium. Alright. So what are the conditions for equilibrium? You know everyone that there are two conditions for equilibrium. What is the first condition for equilibrium? That resultant of all the forces acting on the body is zero. Several forces are acting on the body, but if you take the vector sum of all the forces, then what will be the vector sum? That is the resultant, that is zero. Then we can say the body will be either at rest or moving with constant velocity, means it is in equilibrium. Alright, so this is the first condition of equilibrium. I repeat, what is the first condition of equilibrium? The resultant or net force acting on the body is zero. Then second condition for equilibrium is that the body will not have rotational motion also. So you know that moment of force can produce rotational motion. So we can say that net anti-clockwise moment is equal to net clockwise moment, or you can say the resultant of moment of all the forces about the axis of rotation is zero. So these are the conditions for equilibrium. Alright, already you studied in 10th standard, that's why I have not written anything regarding this topic on the whiteboard, because you know it already. This is just the recapitulation of the topic. Now this is the last topic, but last is not the least one, very important one. And one can, if you just follow this one carefully, then rotational motion chapter will become very easy to you. Means just by comparison method you can remember and learn all the relations in the rotational motion chapter. So first we are writing the linear motion and here rotational motion. The equivalent terms you have to understand. So if you consider in linear motion, then the equivalent term of mass for rotational motion is moment of inertia. Alright. So the role of mass in linear motion and the role of moment of inertia in rotational motion is same. And what is the relation for moment of inertia? mr square, mi/r/I square. Is that clear? Then linear displacement is equivalent to angular displacement theta. Is that clear? Linear displacement, most probably we have written r or s. Sometimes we use s also. Be careful. Then next one is, if you consider linear velocity v is the equivalent term in case of rotational is angular velocity omega. And what is the relation? V is equal to omega into r. Then next one is, if you consider linear acceleration we denote it by A, and here angular acceleration is the equivalent term. Angular acceleration we denote it by alpha. Now A is equal to alpha r. So you can write alpha is equal to A by r. So either you remember this relation, then automatically V and omega you can connect. Is that clear? Then next term is linear momentum. You see, linear momentum we denote it by P. P is mass into linear velocity. Yes or not? So you see, what will be the angular momentum? Angular momentum denoted by J. So you see, mass equivalent term is I. And what is the equivalent of V? Omega. So J is equal to I omega. So this is the way you can remember all the relation without any derivation. Although we have done the derivations also. So next one, linear momentum is this. Then next is coming force. Force, how we write? Force is mass into acceleration, or you can write it as this rate of change of linear momentum, dp dt, isn't it? So you see, what is the equivalent term of force in case of angular momentum? Torque. Now you see, force is mass into acceleration, so torque will be how much? What is the equivalent term of mass? I. What is the equivalent term of A? Alpha. So you see, torque you can write it as I into alpha. So without derivation, just by comparison method also you can get the relation. Or you can write it as, this is the rate of change of angular momentum. Torque. F is dp dt. What is the equivalent of pj? So tau is dj dt. Is that clear? Then next one is coming, what is the energy? You see, kinetic energy is given by half mv square. So you see, what will be the here? The rotational energy. Rotational energy you can write half. What is the equivalent of m? I. So half I. Then what is the equivalent of V? Omega. So half I omega square. Is that clear? Then you see, you can write it as force and energy we have done. Then coming the equations of motions. Equations of motions, if you write, then you see what are the equations of motions you have got. First one is V is equal to U plus AT. So you can write it as omega is equal to omega naught plus acceleration will be alpha into T. Is that clear? Then next one is S is ut plus half at square. Here not R, we will use S. So S is ut plus half at square. So S is equivalent to theta and U is equivalent to omega naught. So it will be omega naught T plus half alpha T square. This is the equation of motion in rotational motion. Then what is the third equation of motion? V square is equal to U square plus 2A. So you see, V is equivalent to omega. So it will be omega square. U is equivalent to omega naught initial angular velocity. So it will be omega naught square plus 2. Linear acceleration equivalent to angular acceleration. Linear displacement equivalent to angular displacement theta. So you see, V square is equal to U square plus 2AS. You can write it as in rotational motion, omega square is equal to omega naught square plus 2 alpha into theta. Alright. So these are the relations between the linear motion and rotational motion. Thank you girls. That's the end of the theory part of the rotational motion chapter.